So, you managed to escape the giant fire servitor. That's good. Now we need to figure out what this thing is in the ground. So let's do that. Team composition, again, does not really matter as you will not be fighting a boss, but rather doing an encounter. The most fierce enemies in this fight are Shanks and Captains, but mainly the Shanks, which have rotating elemental shields. So having a nice mix of elements is nice, or a couple of people using Hardlight for the element swap. Blade Barrage with Shards of Galinar does pretty good work on said Shanks, along with Thunderlord for dealing with Captains in the underground area. The goal of this encounter is to break the mechanisms blocking Insurrection Prime. You will do this via tanks, Drake tanks, like from the campaign. It's pretty cool. So how do you get tanks? Well, you need to charge one of the 3 nodes in the arena with Phase Radiance. Split your team into 2 groups of 3, Outside Team and Radiance Team, or Underground Team. Outside Team will be outside, shocker, killing ads, namely those Shanks, along with giant servitors. Radiance Team will be down in the inner parts of the arena, running around underground, looking for correct Phase Radiance. Radiance Team, let's start with you. Go to the middle of the arena near the boss to see the 4 ramps that lead down underground. Before the fight starts, these paths will be blocked by an electric wall that will instantly kill you. These walls go away for a short time every time a giant servitor is killed. In this underground ring will be nodes that contain Phase Radiance. There are 3 different Phase Radiance: continuous, angular, and parallel. For the purposes of this part of the encounter, you will know them as either red, blue, and white, or circle, triangle, and square. Your goal while down here is to punch a terminal, get a Phase Radiance, then find another terminal of the same phase, punch that one, and get 2 stacks of your phase. There is also a 4th Phase Radiance, except technically it's not a Phase Radiance, but rather a detonation switch that causes the arena to blow up. This switch will display all 3 of the symbols rapid fire, whereas all of the other ones will just stay one shape. So you don't have to walk right up to the
circle. Are you guys go yet or no?
Circle on me.
Yeah, just keep going after. Oh no! Oh no!
Incorrect phase generator. Oh
yeah,
no.
That was on me. I got baited.
Note that you cannot switch Radiance while you already have a stack of one. If you have 1 stack of continuous Radiance and you try to get a stack of angular Radiance, well, you'll just die. Important to know that if you have a certain Phase Radiance and you run into someone who has a different Phase Radiance, you will tether each other, meaning you'll damage each other. So try not to get too close to other phased players of different types. An easy way to tell what the panels are without having to walk right up to them is to look at the lights on the outside of the panel box. Red is circle, white is square, blue is triangle. Eventually, no terminals will be active or be of the types that you do not need. This is where the outside team comes in. The outside team will spend their time killing ads. The priority here should be the Shanks, because if too many of them leak into the underground, it makes things very difficult for those players. The Shanks will spawn either north, south, east, or west, assuming you're in the middle of the map, which you should be. Then, you will have a giant servitor spawning in the same lanes. When killed, this will reset the phase nodes and will get rid of the electric field that blocks the path from the underground to the outside for a short time. This is the time that the underground players either look for another stack of Radiance or get out and find a tank. The outside team should only need to kill 3 or 4 servitors per tank phase. The 3 nodes for the Radiance charges are located in the north, southwest, and southeast, also known as left, front, and right, or whatever your callouts want to be. Any phase Radiance can go into any node outside. As soon as you drop in your phase Radiance, you'll get a tank, and you'll have 28 seconds to do as much damage as possible to the boss. However, if you're in a tank, you will be bombarded by constant missiles, so you always need to be moving so you don't get hit. There are some ways of handling this. Number 1, you can just keep moving, going in a circle in the direction of your choosing. Or 2, you can strafe back and forth in one spot in a lane. Or 3, whatever else you want to do. Strafing back and forth is harder, but it gives you more damage potential. You can also just do whatever you're comfortable with. Also, you should Melting Point, aka Hammer Strike, the tower looking things in the middle by the boss because, well, it works. When your timer runs out, you should probably leave your tank before it explodes. This process repeats itself until the boss is dead. Every 25% of the boss's health will reset the timer before detonation. You can see this timer next to the boss in the middle ticking down. In our first kills and in this video, all 3 Radiance runners got their tanks at the same time. You technically don't have to do this. All you need to do is 25% damage before the timer runs out, but having everyone together can keep your team focused. Not to mention that it can be scary in the underground by yourself considering how many adds can spawn. After the boss dies, you'll get your loot at a chest located where you first came in. You'll then have a berserker spawn in front of you, which will drop a battery when killed. When you plug in this battery in the node that is also where you first came in, the actual boss, Insurrection Prime, will spawn. Insurrection Prime is a giant robot with many weak points on its body. The goal of this encounter is to remove its shield so that you can hit it with a tank shot in order to deal damage. This fight is a mashup of both the previous encounter and the first encounter in the raid. Team composition, again, does not really matter too much since you'll be running around a lot, and there aren't really enough adds that spawn in the fight to make any particular super necessary to have, maybe besides Well of Radiance for boss damage. Captains are the only shielded enemies with arc, so if you have arc damage, then that's great. Otherwise, berserkers will need to be bursted down by whatever means necessary, making the Icolo shotgun or this raid's curated shotgun the ideal weapon for that. Whisper of the Worm will likely be your boss damage weapon of choice when you are first learning the encounter due to its reliability, but it would not surprise me if Thunderlord or another weapon becomes popular. In this encounter, you will need to split your group in the following way: Map Reader, Shield Breakers, and Battery Runners. While you can do a 1-1-4 split, my team opted to have 2 Shield Breakers and 3 Battery Runners, with one of the Shield Breakers swapping with the Runner for the second set of batteries. But you can also have the Battery Runner swap with the Map Reader so that the Shield Breakers can stay focused. The Map Reader will point out on the map where the Berserkers are located, but again, one of the Berserkers will have a red orb on its head, indicating that it will drop 2 batteries. The Battery Runner team should then run out to that Berserker, kill it, and then get instructions on where to place their batteries. This works the exact same way as the opening encounter of the raid. Meanwhile, the Shield Breakers will be shooting at the glowing weak points on the boss's body. Weak points will be located on the sides of the shoulders, the back, the ribs, and the knees. The boss has a variety of attacks, from simple guns to a void cannon to launching itself into the air and dropping missiles or launching attacks. For these more powerful missile attacks, there will be an additional weak point that glows orange near the weapon that is being utilized. For example, if an arm cannon is being used, then the orange weak point will be by its armpit. A different weapon will have the orange weak point on its back. Shooting this weak point and dealing enough damage will stop the attack. While it isn't necessary to stop any of the boss's attacks, it's helpful if you can make it happen. The boss will stop glowing when all of its normal weak points are disabled. Most, if not all, weak points can be destroyed with 2 Whisper of the Worm shots with Whispered Breathing. The Map Reader will act as an additional shield breaker when they aren't reading the map, but due to their job, they won't have the ability to move around a whole lot. The 1 or 2 other shield breakers should spread out so that the boss is ever looking at one of them, the others have free reign. Shield breakers will also need to deal with the vandals that spawn in the 4 buildings in the arena. They spawn at the very top of said buildings and should be killed immediately if possible. You will also need to deal with fallen spawns coming from catches. They usually drop 4 or 5 dregs and a captain. Technically, everyone needs to deal with them, but shield breakers especially, since they'll either be in a close quarters building or out in the open. After the first set of batteries are put in their nodes, one of the battery runners should switch spots with a shield breaker or the map reader so that 2 people are able to grab the next set of batteries. The process of finding the new berserker with the red orb on its head and doing callouts for where you need to place the batteries will repeat until 4 total batteries have been placed, meaning you only need 2 berserker kills. When the 4th battery is placed, tanks will spawn on each of those 3 nodes. The last battery should grab a tank and shoot the boss in order to bring it down so that you can start dealing damage. When brought down, the core of the boss, a normal looking servitor, will be the weak point for you to shoot. You can deal damage from wherever you want, but the direction the boss falls down and chooses to reveal its weak point will dictate where you need to go. In order to try to counteract this, my team dealt damage from the map room. After we had our batteries placed, but before we shot the boss with the tank, we made sure that everyone was in the map room or the map area so that the boss would only be looking in our direction. Then we'd shoot the boss with the tank shot so that his weak point would be facing us and we wouldn't need to move. While this isn't a 100% foolproof method due to the positioning the boss can be in sometimes, it did work quite often. You should still try to get comfortable dealing damage from other parts of the map just in case, but more often than not, this method should work for you. Here is an example clip of how this fight normally goes for our team.
Okay.
First dude is... I'm still waiting. Northwest.
He's probably gonna be pissed at me. Yep. Sure.
Blocking my sight line.
I'm gonna just let him keep doing it.
One.
Handles are up.
First one is going southwest. Other one's going southeast. Next one's east, or west. Next kill is west, rather. Correct. You guys are correct.
Everything's dead on my side.
Yeah,
Go.
everything's down. Everything's down.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm coming if you need to switch.
Yep. Rotating.
Just gonna leave going.
We'll go.
I'm out of EP shotties.
I'm here. I got.
He's missing me, so I can't read. Hold on.
We left. We
Alright,
cannot
one.
stop it.
Alright, southwest.
2.
Missiles, watch it. One side, he's missing. You're both southwest.
I'll get the Drake. Okay. Is he in a good spot?
Not really.
Yeah.
Let's I'm
No.
gonna go right. Go right.
No, right.
Yep.
The damage portion of this fight is where things can get messy if you're not ready. A few seconds after the boss is exposed, an EMP will go out, giving everyone in the group either a continuous, angular, or parallel phase radiance, 2 of each. If you are standing next to someone of a phase that isn't the same as yours, you will take damage, and multiple stacks of this will kill very quickly. The goal here is to stack phase radiance properly, because when you are standing next to someone of the same phase, you will get a 3 times damage multiplier. If you've ever raided Naxxramas in World of Warcraft, the boss Thaddeus may come to mind. In order to organize this mess of buffs, your team should come up with predetermined positions for people to stand in depending on the buff that they get. With my team, we did a triangle formation around the map room using CAP, C-A-P, or circle angle parallel for our order. C was to the left, A was in the back, and P was on the right. We did CAP because, well, CAP is a word and it's easy to remember the word CAP, but you can also go alphabetically or whatever order you want. It really doesn't matter. The boss will EMP again a few seconds later, changing everyone's phase again, so you'll need to rotate again. The map room is pretty small, which may lead to issues, but there is definitely enough space. My team also drops a well of radiance right in the middle so that you can heal while you move. Minimizing downtime here is going to be the most important part of the fight in terms of damage. If your damage is low, it's likely because of poor stacking.
Shot.
That worked great. Yeah.
P.
Okay. This entire process starts over again after the boss returns to normal until it dies. There is an enrage timer. Communication is huge here. There are many callouts being made by the map reader and the shield breakers, not to mention people swapping roles mid-fight. Keep conversation to a minimum when possible. Once the boss dies, you'll drop into the pit in the middle, collect your loot, and you will have completed Scourge of the Past. If you enjoyed this video, a positive rating would be greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.